Hey y'all, I'm Heather and welcome to my channel, The Debt Free Quilter. So, as we all know, Gnomester Moon is finished! Woohoo! But now what are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? That's the question. That's always the question. That's my life. Okay. Anyway, so I have come across the fact that I need to make some more bibs for my baby minion. See, here's one of my old ones. It's actually shrunk quite a bit over the years. I think I made this one when my minionette was little. So she's 7. So that's been quite a long time. And it's time to make some new ones because while this is still usable, it's shrinking, it's old, it's probably not gonna last a whole lot longer. So let's make some new ones. Now, not perfect. I was not in a groove when I was making this at like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's right, 10 o'clock at night. I was not in a very good groove, so it's kind of lopsided, but it'll still get the job done. I actually made 4 the other night just to get myself in the groove and work through the steps in my head. So today, from start to finish, we're gonna make some bibs. Because who knows, maybe somebody out there, you have grandkids or future grandkids coming, or you're younger like me, kind of. I say that in my 40s, but you know, that's okay. But you got littles, or you're even younger than me. And you've got littles. And prices are crazy. In some ways, it's cheaper to take an old towel and turn it into a bib than go to the store and buy them. I mean, that's just how things work these days. So there will probably be a few more utilitarian videos on my channel in the near future because there are some things around here I need to do and get done and take care of. But all in all, pretty much all y'all have seen from me is quilting. And there's so much more to sewing. So, and these are things that I need to do. So, let's get to it. What I did, I went to Joann's Fabrics and bought 3 half-yard cuts of terry cloth. And then I went to the remnant section and found some decent sized cuts of flannel. It can be any kind of flannel you want. If it's a remnant and it's half yard-ish, that's perfect. Especially at Joann's where you can get it fairly cheap. And then we make a bib. And the other thing that I invested in it last year sometime, was a Snapsetter. It makes it so much easier. There are actually 2 kinds. There's one that requires a hammer, which I have one, I'm not sure where it is right now, or I would show you. And the other one is handheld and you squeeze it, which is what I'll be showing you how to use today. So let's get started on these bibs. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm using my mat for this one. I need to cut these. I can probably only make 2. I need to cut 2 pieces at 13.5 inches by 12.5 inches. So what I'm going to start by doing, because I have all this mess over here, is cut off a 15-inch piece and trim down from there, and I still have all of this left over. So I've got one side I have a straight edge now, and I'm going to come over here to 13.5. I can line up right on this line right here. So we've got 13.5. The next thing I'm going to do is take this and cut all the selvage down here off. I don't need that. at least the vast majority of it. And then I'm going to turn it this way. Yeah, I got the majority of it. And get it as flat as I can. I can always trim more off this end. Not a big thing. I'm not even going to worry about it. And cut this at 12 and a half. Remember, I never claimed to be perfect. Alright, so there's my 13 and a half by 12 and a half. Roughly. Because I'm not perfect. I'm not claiming to be. And then we're going to do the same thing with this terry cloth. Okay. And once again, I have a bunch of weirdness along one side. And one thing with terry cloth too, there's a lot of bias in terry cloth because of how it's woven. So I'm going to do 13 and a half. This is not even remotely going to be perfect. Wow. Don't try and cut through multiple layers of terry cloth like I'm doing. Just don't do it. It's a pain. Don't cut through more than 2 layers. That was not smart of me, and I have to leave it at that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take and line up these 2 selvages right here. Give it a shake. Get all that snow out of there. And now I'm going to take, and once again, I'm cutting off these selvages. And I'm going to take these 2 ends. Do my best to make sure that they are still lined up. And come back to 12 and a half. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one piece of my flannel and lay the pretty side on top of this terry cloth. I'm going to pick the whole thing up and move it. Then I'm going to take the pretty side of the other piece. Because with terry cloth, it really does not matter. Each side is woven about the same, so there we have that. I wonder. Oh yeah, I could get a third one, but we're only going to make 2 in this video. I could definitely get a third one, and I may, just not right now. Okay, now we're going to go over to the sewing machine and go to our next steps. Alright, our next steps today involve some pins. I apologize for moving the camera. But here's what we're going to do. To make sure that these don't move, because this is a slippery fabric, I'm going to pin it in a few places just to make sure it's not going to slip. I'm pinning it up here around these 2 corners, and I'll pin it down here at these 2 corners. I want to make sure we're far enough inside that we're not going to hit it with our foot or our needle, and we're going to sew it with the flannel side down. That way the terry cloth does not get caught up in our feed dogs or any of that madness. Alright, next I have 3 very specific pins to add. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to put a pin right here at the center, because we're going to have to make a circle in here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be done. And the next 2 pins are going to help us do that. I know you'll hear it fussy. Now this probably will not turn out perfectly, and that's okay. But we need a circle right in this area. I think it's actually a little bit wide. It's a little bit better. I want about the same distance between those 2 and these 2. And then we'll go around this way. Okay, as y'all have heard, I have a fussy butt, so I'm going to do the rest of my instructions in voiceover. Okay, crisis averted. Time to pin that second bib. We're starting to sew about halfway down one side and continuing all the way around to the top of the project. When we get to the top of the project, we want to stop about 1/4 inch from that pin in the center, pivot our project, and sew down about 3/4 of an inch before we pivot again to start making our circle. Sewing a circle can be a little tricky, so take your time with it. If you're uncomfortable first time doing it, perfectly fine. If you're experienced at it and a pro, go as quick as you want. When you get back to the top, remember to leave an opening. Don't close your circle. Pivot your project, go back up to about even where you left off sewing and continue down to the corner. On this last side, remember we need to leave a space for turning, so stop sewing a couple of inches before your starting point. Repeat this process with the second bib. It's time to break out the scissors. If your seams came out just a little bit wonkier when you're sewing around the edge, it's totally fine to cut part of that off. Grading the edge down like this will make it lay flatter once we turn it, and trimming the corners will make them be able to be a little bit pointier after we turn it. Now remove your pins and cut out your circle, leaving about a 1/4 inch seam. Repeat the process with the second bib. Grade your seams down as far as you need to, leaving at least a 1/4 inch seam, and make sure to trim those corners. Cutting the circles out can seem a little bit difficult or tricky, but just remember to take your time with it. No rush. Alright, I apologize for the horrible camera angle here, but we are flipping our project inside out, which will put the right side out, and we can see the pretty side of that flannel. If you have a turning implement to help with this, a chopstick, a knitting needle, a crochet hook, it can help you get those parts that are up at the top of the bib. Alright, we got these flipped right side out. Let's do an edge stitch around the entire thing that will close the opening we used to flip it and make everything lay nice and flat and look very nice at the end. Another thing, if something happens and you just barely miss one of your fabrics, like your flannel, like I did right here, you can start at that area and sew it closed by tucking the parts that you missed in just a little. No one will ever know. Alright, this is a Snapsetter kit. It comes with all different colors of snaps, the setter itself, and all a screwdriver and different sized, I don't even know what those are called, but there are these pieces which set the snaps in place. Now, what I have to do, because this thing is stubborn and doesn't want to leave this position, is I got a rubber band to hold this part together so it will stay like I want it to, mostly. Alright, so let's see. We have yellow. Which one? This one, or that one? I'm thinking this one. Alright, so let's get this all situated. First things first, dump out the snaps. That will make it easier to see all the pieces that you need. Alright, I have 2 bibs, so we're going to need 4 pieces per bib. Now set out the rest of our tools, the awl and the Snapsetter. Next, we decide where we want our snap to sit by taking our awl and literally shoving it through 4 layers of fabric. Now we place half of our snap on one side of our project, place our Snapsetter over the snap half, and squeeze down to make it stay in place. Repeat that process with the other side. Now, to make sure your snap is not going to malfunction, close and open your snap several times just to be on the safe side. And we will repeat the entire process with the second bib. And there we have it. 2 completed bibs. Maybe not perfect, but you know what? That's okay. They don't have to be. They're just going to get dirty anyway. But it took me about 45 minutes to complete both of these. Not too bad. Like I said, I did 4 the other night. That took me a couple of hours. Not a huge deal. And hey, I still have these that I can turn into something. Maybe I'll make some little face scrubbies or something. But there we have it for this week's video. There are more quilts coming up. You have my word. Have my word. But until then, have a great day. Have a great week. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.